Hello and welcome from Zandvoort. We're here in the Netherlands and here we really have crazy weather. We've seen the sun, we've seen a lot of rain, now the sun's out, but who knows what's going to happen next. And this is actually a very challenging racetrack as it's embedded right into the dunes, which means because it's windy as well, the sand goes right onto the racetrack, which certainly doesn't make it any easier for the drivers. We saw a phenomenal race weekend here, and now here are the highlights. Enjoy.
Thanks very much, Farina. Yes, Zandvoort, the circuit by the seaside, the racetrack which weaves amongst the sand dunes. Very changeable track conditions, as you said. And for this weekend, very difficult weather conditions with the clouds dumping their contents on a number of occasions over the weekend. It made everything very difficult. Also, an incident in practice in the pits had meant that a lot of the cars hadn't had as much running around the circuit as they'd hoped. Gary Paffett, championship leader by some 20 points going into this race. Of course, the second 2 weeks running. Jamie Green still in with a hope of the title. Bruno Spengler, winner a week ago in second place. There is the reigning champion, Martin TOMCZYK. In fact, that's Mike Rockenfeller, who was very fast in practice. There's Edo Mortara and Matthias Ekstrom, a three-time winner at this track. Timo SCHEIDER, the season's not been going so well for him. Down on the grid, there was a packed crowd. So let's check out the track. Here we go with Hankook Towers and this famous circuit which in the 50s, 60s and 70s hosted the Dutch Grand Prix. The circuit is a little shorter now than it used to be, but the start-finish line is just the same, and the dive down to the famous banked Tarzan hairpin. Difficult place to overtake indeed. Overtaking here at Zandvoort has never been easy. Then through the Hugenholtz bend and climbing up through the dunes then through the Slottermarker corner, coming up here and again climbing up through the dunes to the highest point of the track. Right-hander up to well over 200 kilometers an hour. Our two cars this time are the Mercedes-Benz and the Audi. Then back down the hill with a series of difficult bends. And as we said, it's very hard to overtake here. Lefts and rights in a series of sweeps. The S's, very difficult spot. And then down to the Luijendijk corner, which is named after the Indy 500 winner, the Dutch Indy 500 winner, Arie Luijendijk. And that brings you back onto the start-finish line. Length of the track these days, 4.3 kilometres. The race just under 180 Ks. So on to qualifying, and he was back. Timo SCHEIDER
Well, it's an awesome day. After such a hard time I've had coming back here to Zandvoort, catching the fourth pole position for me. After so many fights and discussions I had with my team and engineers and technicians, being back on pole is an awesome feeling, definitely.
Yeah, Mike Rockenfeller, second fastest, and just to prove we are at the seaside, and here is Rocky. Good performance again by Mortara and Ekstrom. 5 Audis in the top 5. BMW were in the hunt, but not as fast as they'd been at the previous race. The odd off, and both Farfus and indeed Bruno Spengler miscuing in qualifying, trying to save a set of tyres.
You know, afterwards you're always more intelligent than before. Today was definitely a mistake not to go out again, but that's racing, that's life, and you have to go on with it. We are still learning, you know, we have to get experience, and yeah, we have to go on with it, and tomorrow is a new day. The conditions will be very tricky, very difficult, so it's going to probably help me a little bit to come up front.
Yeah, Martin TOMCZYK, though, was one of the faster BMWs, but fastest of all the BMs, Dirk WERNER in the top 10. Here is BMW boss Jens Marquardt. Yes, he said we had a bit of a miscue there. We decided not to send them out for a second run in Q1. That didn't work for us, unfortunately, but we're still learning here. Basically, the season has been going better for us than we ever expected. There's Norbert Haug. As we said, Audis 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and the Mercedes certainly trying very hard indeed. Jamie Green, Gary Paffett.
We know a bit more about the car now. This is probably the most running we've done really in the dry. So hopefully we can change a few things. I'm quite, you know, all year our race pace has been very good, and we showed even at Nürburgring our race pace was very good. So hopefully we can, yeah, get a good start, have a good race speed, and try and move up the grid tomorrow.
Yeah, there you see 4 of the Audis and their line-up down to the top 9. But Timo SCHEIDER very much on the pole from Rockenfeller. Filipe ALBUQUERQUE, third fastest, great performance by him. Robert Wickens, a good performance there. And then right down to finally David Coulthard. There is DC. Just couldn't make the car work here at a circuit where he won a major Formula 3 race. Well, it must have been over 20 years ago. Well, trying to push water up hill's never been easy, even in Holland.
I'm now here with Mike Rockenfeller. You just only signed autographs with some fans. Now you're here. Yesterday the qualifying went really well for you, starting in position 2 today. Are you happy with that?
I'm really happy. Yesterday I was a bit frustrated at the beginning, you know, because I was really aiming for pole. But I think to be in the first row, it's great. And to be honest with you, last year I won the race from the 3rd position in qualifying, so I hope I have the chance now from P2 to win the race today. But it was great achievement from Audi, from my team, and yeah, I think we have a good chance.
And looking at Audi all in this season, it really didn't go well in the beginning of the season. And now all of a sudden, looking at the qualifying yesterday, 5 Audis in the top 5 positions. What is your goal for the end or for the rest of the season? Do you just want to be best Audi, or do you also even aim further?
We had a difficult start of the year, that's clear. I mean, my goal was to win the championship, to fight for the championship, and right now I'm more thinking about each race and not looking so much on the table. The points, sorry, and well, today it would help to get 25 points, and that helps in the championship for sure.
And do you have a good feeling that that's going to happen?
I think you never know in DTM. The feeling is good, but we have to wait and see.
All right, best of luck. Thank you very much, Rocky.
So round 7 of the DTM coming up here at Zandvoort. We're very much at the sharp end of the series, down there on a crowded grid. And the most popular of the non-German races in the DTM. Brolly's up, Brolly's down. And everyone worried about the weather. But as we said, 5 Audis at the front. Great qualifying by Albuquerque. Timo SCHEIDER is back. David Coulthard climbs in under the dust sheet. There is Farfus, although he was way down near the back of the grid, was sure he had a good car. Just tightening those belts. Bruno Spengler also had a lot of work to do. Final debrief with his engineers. Ralf Schumacher's under there somewhere. And Martin TOMCZYK, the reigning champions, come close to winning this season for BMW. Mattias Ekstrom, 3-time winner here, as I said, just like Gary Paffett. He's had 3 wins at this track also. Christian VIETORIS, the German, this year promoted, of course, to the top HWA team. And there is the Union Jack on the back of Gary Paffett's helmet as Paffett makes his final preparations. Dirk WERNER, best of the BMWs. Young man certainly finding his feet now in this ultra-competitive series. And going forward on the grid to Jamie Green's wrapped in chrome car. Green, the winner, of course, at the Norris Ring.
Yeah, Mr. Haug, you've got Jamie Green in 6 and Gary Paffett in 8. Are you hoping for the weather to keep up being this unpredictable? So hoping that they, both of them will hopefully overtake as many as possible?
Well, I'm afraid the weather doesn't care, you know. It's happening, whatever is possible. It's raining, it's sunny, it keeps changing, but this will be interesting for everybody. I think you have to be on your toes and react very quickly to the weather changes. For now it's a little bit wet and I think everybody will be on slicks, but it's going to be an interesting first lap, that's for sure.
I bet it will. And also Jamie has one corner which he really needs to be careful in, because in the qualifying it was bad, and also in the training this morning. Do you think he now knows the corner?
Well, he approached the limit from the top and that was a little bit too much, but you know, it can be half a meter braking too late and then it's just too late, and I think he will take care. And we probably can make a good job today.
Yeah, the Leicester driver had been off in the same gravel trap a couple of times. There's the cool Swede, Mattias Ekstrom. Never discount him in a DTM race when the car is going well. Edo Mortara then, of course, that magnificent win in Austria, and right up at the front of the grid once more.
Timo SCHEIDER finally is back. I mean, you did a brilliant qualifying yesterday. How's your feeling for the race today, especially since the weather really is changing the whole time?
Well, I think everything is possible right now. The forecast is just some bit of rain, but like we see now, it's going to be more than we expected. We will see. I think everything is possible.
There's Albuquerque off the second row of the grid. Again, final discussions for him, probably about the weather. And Mike Rockenfeller driving for the Satellite Phoenix team, who of course gave TOMCZYK the championship last year. The laying on of hands by the pole sitter. I wonder if that will help.
I'm here with Mr. Mark Wood, who seems to be in a very good mood. You seem very relaxed. Your best BMW is in 7, and then TOMCZYK in 11. However, I mean, your best drivers really are pretty far behind. You still very confident that you're going to manage this race well?
Well, I mean, you never know what the weather does. We've seen it a few minutes ago, and obviously that will help us in that respect. I mean, it's unfortunate that with Augusto and Bruno we have 2 good guys that have been quick all weekend in the very back of the field. But still, it's a long race, and with weather like that, there is still a lot that can happen. So we have to hope for that and see what comes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Marquardt. Best of luck for the race.
So let's check out that starting grid. And there, Timo SCHEIDER on the pole, his 10th, and 4th here, Mike Rockenfeller alongside him. Then 2 more Audis, Filipe ALBUQUERQUE from Portugal and Edo Mortara. The 3rd row of the grid, and it's Mattias Ekström, and alongside him, the best of the Mercs, Jamie Green. Behind that pair, Dirk WERNER, the best of the BMWs, and Gary Paffett. He can win from back there. Christian VIETORIS and Adrien Tambay, who've done a good job in qualifying, the young Frenchman. And then the next row of the grid, Martin TOMCZYK and Robert Wickens of Canada, getting to grips now with his Mercedes. Miguel Molina and Roberto Merri form the next rank on the grid. And then behind them, it's Ralf SCHUMACHER and Andy Priaulx from Guernsey. Joey Hand from California had Bruno Spengler alongside him in their 2 BMWs. Then Susie Wolff was alongside Augusto Farfus, who was sure he could move up through the field. Then Rahal Frey and David Coulthard brought up the rear. So, tense faces in the pits as ever, particularly with this weather situation. The 3 team bosses we see there in order. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich waiting for the lights, windscreen wipers as you see her on. Green flag waves at the back. And we'll have 3, 4, 5 lights. Lights go out. Oh, disaster for SCHEIDER. Seemed to move and then he stalled. Now he's got it going. And Timo SCHEIDER, all that hard work is undone. And Mike Rockenfeller goes into lead. And Mortara on the inside into 2nd place. And Ekström tries to go round the outside and try and snatch 2nd from his teammate. But disaster for Timo SCHEIDER, stalled the car. A man with over 10 years experience in the DTM. They are difficult to get off the line when they load them up against the brake, but just didn't work for him. Well, we know he has a good race car. Let's see if he can get through the field. We've got a spinner at the back of the field there. Everyone going through. Oh no, the Stern car. So Rob Wickens, not sure how that happened. We didn't see it clearly, but Wickens punted around as Rockenfeller making good progress here from Mortara. And then ALBUQUERQUE. Oh no, and Molina is off in the gravel. Now, is that something to do with what we saw before? It could possibly be so. Let's watch this. Highlighted for us, Wickens in the red car. Molina coming across and hits the red car, spins out through the pack.
You had a collision with Wickens. Did you not see him, or what happened there?
Well, I was trying to find my spot for the first braking, and then I received some small hit, and then I could not control the car anymore because it was quite slippery. But anyway, it was unfortunately was not the best weekend that I had here in DTM.
Say that again. Let's see this start once more. See how he stalled. I think I just saw the nose go down. Definitely a mistake there by Timo SCHEIDER. Let's see it from Ekström. Some phenomenal avoidances, particularly by ALBUQUERQUE. He reacted so quickly. On board with Martin TOMCZYK, and there's that nudge of Wickens, and that was from VIETORIS. So Wickens seemed to be involved in the first incident. Here's David Coulthard. What did he say? He just saw, wow, he just tagged Andy Priaulx. Well, lots of incident on this first lap, and VIETORIS looks as if he's out of the race. This man, Molina, he's definitely out of the race. Car being craned away. And look at the rain now on the lens. So all circulating under the safety car. And also out is Rahal Frey. Rahal Frey down off the marshal's post. She's another retirement. Treacherous conditions. Let's find out what happened.
I was in corner number 3. I was really close behind Hand. I didn't see Wickens, and there was no room to escape. So unfortunately, my front suspension broken, and yeah, it's a really early end.
So safety car is pulled into the pits. They're racing again. It's Mike Rockenfeller in the lead with Mortara, but obviously the lead that Rocky had pulled out was negated by that safety car period. With Jamie Green and Gary Paffett having quite a battle. Still Albuquerque in third place. Look at this, Green down the inside, and the silver car goes down the inside of his teammate and hangs on in there. And great racing between the two Brits here for Mercedes-Benz. So Green has moved up on board with Adrian Tambay. He's just behind Paffett here in 7th place. Swooping round the dunes then Mike Rockenfeller from Eduardo Mortara. Martin Tomczyk going down the inside of the fellow BMW driver Dirk WERNER as we get more spots of rain on the lens. Remember, they all started on the slicks. Timo SCHEIDER, still bad luck for him. Problem with the front bonnet. So it's all gone wrong for Timo SCHEIDER. Martin Tomczyk was pushing there. Jamie Green right on the back now of Ekstrom. Here's the replay of the pass. Green on Paffett. And just took a little bit to the grass, lost a little bit of one of those front strakes off the side, but a good manoeuvre by Green. And Green really is going strongly here as passing Albuquerque, moves up to 4th. Martin Tomczyk chasing after Adrian Tambay. Oh, look at that! Further disaster for Timo SCHEIDER. You can't see where he's going. The bonnet has blown up. Well, he was in the pits for a new bonnet. They fitted another one, and that's what happened. Look, absolutely disintegrating in the end. And I suspect that the fixing points were damaged. Here's a slow-mo of Timo SCHEIDER's incident.
Timo, what happened? I mean, it was a pure disaster today.
Well, I just preloaded the car and the clutch for the start procedure, and the clutch closed twice, and I did not catch the revs back after that, and the light went off, and suddenly the engine was off, so I stalled the engine. After that, I had contact with cold ice. I lost the front bonnet, so it's fitting perfectly to the season.
Yeah, absolute disaster for Timo SCHEIDER. And there's Dr. Ulrich, also has cars racing in the Silverstone 6 hours, the Le Mans cars, at the same time as this race is going on. So another safety car period again, meaning that Mike Rockenfeller's hard-won second or two in the lead has been closed up again. Brings the race back to Mortara, Ekstrom and Green. Looking back at Martin Tomczyk, who seems to be holed up behind Tambay. Here's Tomczyk, the Bavarian driver, driving for the Bavarian Motorworks. And looks to be might get round him this time. Good battles all down the field. Rockenfeller still in the lead, trying to repeat, of course, the win he had here a year ago. His only DTM victory on board with Tomczyk. What can he do this time? Through that difficult S-corner. Albuquerque having to fend off the Mercedes attack. First round of pit stops here. They've decided not to hang on in case it rains. There's some interesting strategy could be played out, but everyone's decided, and of course they've got the weather on screens in the pits, decided they're going to stick with the dries. They're not expecting a storm soon. And TOMCZYK fires it back into the race, but not a particularly good stop from him, and he fails to pass Tambe in that pit stop sequence. Let's have a look at this. Oh, it was very close when they came into the pits. Tambe very nearly tagged there by TOMCZYK. Very tight indeed. Green in the pits. It's not a quick one for Green. And there you see Albuquerque goes out in front of Green. So Green's hard work to get past Albuquerque has been undone by a slower pit stop. Well, that's a DTM for you. There, Green being passed by Tambe and TOMCZYK. Jamie with some work to do then. On board again with TOMCZYK. Remember, he won the championship last year for Audi, switched to BMW in the winter, together, of course, with Bruno Spengler, who switched from Mercedes-Benz. And Mr. Marquardt from BMW telling me that they're hoping to increase the participation next year to 8 cars. There's Rocky's pit stop. And here he comes out. Look at this with Mortara. This is for the lead. This is for the lead. And Rocky just hangs on there in front of Mortara. Ekstrom gets a good view of it as well. And Ekstrom getting close. P4 for Gary Paffett. Gary, of course, the championship leader, and he's in front of Bruno Spengler, and that's important. And there he is going past Ekstrom. Excellent racing from Gary Paffett. Remember, had a terrible season last year. Certainly got it all back together again this year. Double duty, of course, as a racing driver, as the McLaren test driver. There's the replay of the nice move down at that famous bank, Tarzan Corner. Tarzan Corner, but no guerrilla tactics from Gary Paffett. And Rockenfeller now seems to have pulled away a little bit more from Mortara. Right, Rockenfeller, former Le Mans winner. Past the pits again of this 44-lapper. Second round of pit stop starting. Mortara switches tyres, and the Playboy driver blasts away. Nice stop from him. Spengler in. He's been making good progress up the field from that start, which was caused by a miscue in the first part of qualifying. Misjudgment by the team, and he didn't make it into Q2. David Coulthard going through our picture. Rockenfeller leaves the pits. Green and Albuquerque coming in, I believe. Still looking good for Rocky, the man who learned most of his racing trade with a Porsche, or a number of Porsches. Raced a lot in the United States. And there's Farfus, who's been moving up, coming back in, and there's David Coulthard going wide. Little group there. So at the moment, Rockenfeller from Mortara and Ekstrom. TOMCZYK now running in fourth place. Board with the Swede. Had a lot of success at this track. Susie Wolf there running in the purple Mercedes, having a nice strong run. Paffett in, looking for a good stop here. Where will he rejoin? Here comes the black Thomas Sabo sponsored car, following in on that green line. Some of his mechanics were injured in an incident with Ralf Schumacher on Friday when he pulled, just tagged a airline and pulled a gantry down. Look at the eyes on Ekstrom. And there, Paffett comes back in right behind Ekstrom. Yeah, eyes all over the place. Ekstrom looking in his mirror at Gary Paffett. TOMCZYK right there as well. Just seeing our leader go through the picture. Can't miss that yellow and green car. Retirement there for David Coulthard. Lap 23, just not the Scott season at all. I'm putting the brollies up. Must be a little rain shower coming. Well, this could be very interesting indeed. Let's see what happens. Ekstrom, Paffett and TOMCZYK in the battle for third. Jens Marquardt looks out to see how much it's raining, and a bit of pushing and shoving down there, and Paffett is spun. TOMCZYK spins Paffett. Albuquerque has to go off to miss them. Well, I'd like to see that again. Oh, and Farfus still just missing Paffett, and Paffett just can't get it pointed in the right direction. Finally, I think he's going to sort it out. He's lost lots of places, and but TOMCZYK is limping. He must have done some damage. He came diving down on the brakes with it locked up into the Tarzan corner. Maybe it was just pushing too hard, and obviously that wetter factor as well with this sudden rain shower. There we see it, and push, push, push. But it all started when he locked his brakes going into the Tarzan, and then he used Gary Paffett as a buffer to stop on. There's Albuquerque, good tracking shot of him going through the gravel. And you see it again from another angle. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that, but TOMCZYK has lost out. All right, he spun Paffett, but he's got damage to the car. And Paffett slips back to 13th place, and that will help Spengler. And good points for Green as well. So Green goes down inside Spengler. Another move of this famous bank corner, this circuit designed by John Hugenholtz all those years ago. See the rain on the lens again. And there's Martin TOMCZYK. And going off to see Norbert Haugen. It looks to me as if he's apologising there. Yeah. What happened? Well, I locked my brakes. All the hand signals look. So I think now we can hear from Martin TOMCZYK about exactly what his perspective was on that incident.
I locked up on the front right because it started drizzling in the last corner already, so I screwed my brake balance already to the rear. And when I hit the brake, the first initial moment, I locked up on the front right. I couldn't let it spin again, so I tried to avoid the collision, but Gary went wide, entering the corner, so I had no other chance. So unfortunately, I hit him. It was definitely not on purpose. I'm a sportsman since 12 years, so sorry for him, sorry for me. I think for both of us, it was not the perfect day.
Not the perfect day. I think he might get a penalty in the next race for that. Maybe starting further down the grid might get a 5-place penalty for that, I think. Rockenfeller in the lead, but now Mortara in these difficult conditions seems to be pushing a little bit harder. He's closed right up on the boot there. The Team Rosberg run car against the team finish, and let him go down the inside, and this is a manoeuvre. It could... I thought it was going to end in disaster, but it didn't, and Rockenfeller finally gave theirs the boss of Team Phoenix, Ernst Moser, shaking his head. Great move, though, by Mortara. It was a Well, it was dangerous strategy. Let's see it here. Did they touch? Well, I think they did, but not enough to spin Rocky. And it was hero or zero there. If he'd spun him around, there would have been a lot of trouble. Albuquerque goes wide. And Merry goes past, and Albuquerque is race compromised by that earlier spin. And there's Paffett going past Werner. It's all happening out here at Zandvoort. So, Gary Paffett moving back up the field. There he is behind Farfus at the moment. So, let's see what Paffett can do about getting past Farfus. And goes down tries the outside, jinxes back in, and he's made it stick. Look, great driving by Gary Paffett. And Werner tries to go through with Farfus as well. But what a move that was by Mortara. Very audacious move, just pushing that bit harder in these difficult conditions. And Farfus is fighting back over Paffett. But he's a wily old campaigner, Gary Paffett, former champion in this series, of course. And meanwhile, Edo Mortara, a Geneva-based driver, although he races under Italian nationality, is pulling away. Now, Paffett has gone past Ralf Schumacher. And Ralf just moved over and let him by. That was probably team orders. So Paffett, these points are so important to him. Because that gap is still pretty tight at the front with 3 races remaining in the DTM, remember. There's a nice replay of the Paffett on Schumacher pass. Farfus getting stuck in. And Werner. Excellent midfield racing for the lesser points. Still these tricky conditions, but the heavens never truly opened. Just a very quick shower dampened the track, but I think the slick's still working all right. On board with the cheery Brazilian here. Still chasing after the Mercedes car in front of Ralf Schumacher. Down the famous straight again. That used to be longer in the old days. And Mortara continues to pull away here. And Mortara heading for a checkered flag. It was that audacious move into the famous Tarzan, which gave him the lead. Just being a little bit bolder in these slippery conditions. And Mortara certainly has come of age in this championship in recent races, looking for his second victory in the DTM. Rocky, of course, also was looking for his second victory. It looks to me as if he'll have to be content with that second place today. There's the yellow car. It's not that far behind. And here is Mortara on the final lap, heading towards a checkered flag. And here he comes. Edo Mortara, the former Formula 3 champion, Macau Grand Prix winner, takes it at Zandvoort for win number 2 of the season. Rocky comes home second. There's Arno Jensen, the team boss of Team Rosberg. And the rest of the cars. A 1, 2, 3 for Audi as Ekstrom finishes third. Green is the best of the rest for Mercedes-Benz. There is Norbert Haug. Still racing going on here. Paffett, an excellent charge up the field to 7th place after being spun out. Finishes just ahead of Dirk Werner and Farfus. But in a season where Audi have not been that predominant, they certainly have had a good race here with the A5. And we can go down now and hear from pit side and Arno Jensen.
It's the second victory since Spielberg. How do you feel?
I cannot describe it. I am so happy for the guys, for the team, for Audi. It's an unbelievable feeling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's look at the result there with that victory by Mortara from Rockefeller and Ekstrom. And then Jamie Green with a hard-charging drive. Best ever result for Tambi. Spengler just finishing ahead of Paffett to take a couple of points out of him in the championship chase, and then the rest of them. And as you see, far from a full field finishing there with Joey Hand bringing up the rear.
Congratulations, a phenomenal race from P4 to victory. How does it feel?
It feels fantastic. I mean, everybody knows how difficult it is to win a DTM victory. And to do it in these conditions, especially against teammates, we had a really tough fight actually with Rocky. And I mean, we were pushing both. I'm sure like all the races, all the laps of the race, and we were like doing qualifying laps after qualifying laps. And at the end to catch a victory is for sure fantastic.
Yeah, he's obviously overjoyed. This was the instant where the lead changed. Mike Rockenfeller.
I think I led most of the race, so I think I was dominating it. And I mean, the yellows didn't help me all the time. Always the gap was closed again. And then, I mean, Edu was a bit quicker or took more risk when it was raining again. And he took the chance to overtake me, and I couldn't fight back.
And I guess you, Eki, are happy with the third place. I mean, you pushed really, really hard. You tried your best, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of the race was a little bit exciting in the first corner. Then I saw at one stage Gary was quicker and he wanted to pass desperately, and I thought, if I'm not quick enough, I'm not going to destroy his race. But then somehow we got fight it back with strategy, and I was in front. And then I think he crashed with Martin behind me, and then I had more or less an easy race.
So, they're the three rings of Audi, finishing 1, 2 and 3. Their best result of the season, no question of doubt about that, as the bubbly sprays up on the podium here in Holland. And Mortara's victory number 2. But let's now hear from the Mercedes-Benz boss, Norbert Haug.
Mr. Haug, you've got Green in 4 and Paffett, who really was on fire. He overtook, I believe, three cars in the last 2 rounds in 7. Are you okay with that? And also with the incident with Martin TOMCZYK and his apologies, are you all right with that?
Well, first of all, it should not happen. You know, you should not interfere into a championship. I mean, Martin TOMCZYK is a championship contender. Driving into another car is just not what you should do. I accept the apologies. And he said, I'm a sportsman, sorry. But again, it should not happen, and a championship should not be decided by that. Anyway, Gary pushed like he showed what he can do, and caught up places, came back in 7th, which is really good. He could have been on the podium, as everybody saw, same with Jamie. I think our speed was really good. The circumstances did not allow better results, but you know, we are leading in the championship 1st and 2nd with Gary and Jamie, and that is a good pace for the last 3 races.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an exciting end to this championship with those 3 races to come. The next race will be at Oschersleben. This was a vital moment when that man, Paffett, got spun out. And now we can hear from the British driver about that incident.
I mean, it was raining, everybody braked early except for him. He's stupid, it's crazy. It starts to rain, you brake early and he didn't. So it's totally his fault, totally.
Gary not happy then, of course it's hurt his lead in the championship, as you can see. Jamie Green moves within 16 points of Paffett, and now Spengler is only 18 points behind. And Mortara, well, he's within 35 points of the leader. So, interesting race here, and we understand there will be a 5-place grid penalty for Martin TOMCZYK for that incident. Let's hear now from Jamie Green.
On the restart after the safety car, I was able to overtake Gary, so that was pretty good. I was back into 4th place. But unfortunately, I lost too much time in the pits today, and that cost me a lot of time.
That man, Bruno Spengler, moved up from 18th to 6th, so he was pretty happy with his drive.
Yeah, I'm definitely very happy with the 6th place. It's really good for us, for the whole team. Had a very good start. After a couple of corners, I was P11. I'm very happy. Maybe I don't look happy because my stomach is really bad since yesterday night, and had a lot of pain the whole day, and that's why I look a little bit tired and finished. I need a couple of days to rest, and then I'll be fit again for Oschersleben.
Well, for BMW, it wasn't quite like a week before when they won at the Nürburgring, but what did Mr. Marquardt have to say about it all? Here he is with Verena.
What a crazy race this was. Really, really crazy. Also, I mean, Spengler really did a good job from P16 to P6, I believe. Is this kind of what you were hoping for?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a crazy race, but at the end I have to say best outcome for BMW that we could really hope for, a bit unfortunate for Martin. And yeah, sorry also that with that little incident, also Gary was affected, but absolutely unintentional. You could see that it was getting wet and a lot of people struggling there. Shame for Martin, he was really doing a great job, advancing as well in the field. Super happy for Bruno, and obviously also Dirk and Augusto did a great job, so 3 cars in the top 10 after that. Qualifying is more than we could have expected.
Yeah, so BMW salvaging something there. Well, this race by the seaside with its unpredictable weather certainly gave us lots of thrills and spills. But now for a final word, it's Verena Wright.
Well, it certainly was a jungle out there here in Zandvoort. In the Tarzan corner in the very beginning, a lot was decided. A tragic race for Timo SCHEIDER, but a brilliant race all in all for Audi, with the 3 Audis in the top 3 positions. All in all, Peffert is still leading the championship, followed by Green and then Spengler. But Eduardo Mortara is not that far behind, so who knows, maybe he can pick up the speed. We'll see in Oschersleben, so see you then. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye from Verena, and from me, Andrew Marriott, it's also goodbye until the next time. And we'll leave you with some of the highlights of round 7 of the DTM.